So if you have been watching my channel, you probably saw a snippet of one of the raids that I did with my friend Matt and Kevin. And I wanted to talk about kind of the review of those 4 raids. I'm obviously not going to get into spoilers. What you're going to look at here is some gameplay that I captured the other night, just grinding guns and working on Battle Pass. It was actually a pretty awesome round. I pulled off 70 kills, half of which were with the new gun that I just unlocked. It was a phenomenal round, but it's just kind of B-roll, so to speak. But the actual episodes, there were 4 of them, and this was a really cool new thing that came out in Modern Warfare 2 that was set kind of as a continuation slightly of the campaign. It progresses the story in a small amount, not in the way that Destiny kind of wraps things up behind these brutal raids that force you to really work closely with 5 other people, and there's very limited room for error. This wasn't like that, and I think because these were a bit more accessible, they were a lot more fun. But I think what really made the raids so much better than really any of this other kind of episodic content I've done in a first-person shooter, really any first-person shooter, was that they were so different than the regular game. They were very heavy focused on puzzle solving and platforming and really thinking about how to progress, not just shooting your way out of every problem. Now, don't get me wrong, Call of Duty is one of the best first-person shooters, and the shooting mechanics are insanely great. The graphics are insanely great. There's a reason why it is the best-selling game for the last 50 billion years. There's a reason why Microsoft paid so much money to own the rights to this game, because it's so good. So if they just decided to just keep what they had, like the little missions that you see, the little cooperative missions that exist in Modern Warfare 2, or that have existed in previous Modern Warfares. The ones where you basically just have to survive wave after wave of enemy. You get to run to a little loot locker and upgrade your gun or upgrade kill streaks that allow you to fight faster. If any of that just existed as is, I don't think anybody would complain. What makes these raids so good, though, is that, yes, there is gunfire, but it dismisses a lot of the other things that you would expect to see. And each of the 4 Atomgrad episodes features a different, fresh mechanic that requires you to really think about and communicate with your other teammates on how to proceed. Now, some of them were a little bit more challenging than others, and there were ones that definitely we had to play over the course of multiple nights because we just got frustrated and we had to kind of think about it and, you know, what's the best course of action. But we really did our best not to cheat. We did our best not to look online to get any kind of snippets or details on what to expect. We truly just tried to beat them as is. And I would recommend, if you haven't yet done them, they're amazing. And go find 2 friends who have microphones. You're going to have to talk to them. You're going to have to communicate. And you don't have to be the best first-person shooter player in the world. You are going to have to be good at puzzle solving, and you definitely have to be good at different types of platforming. All of them had various mechanics that were very different than anything we've played in the single-player campaign, or any single-player campaign for that matter. So you're going to need to have those skills, but they're very rewarding because the puzzles start off very basic, and they kind of explain to you through the level what the puzzle mechanic is going to be. And once you kind of get a taste of just the basics, it then progresses and then progresses again into a final area where you're going to have to really sit and think about it. And I love that they experimented and kind of went outside their comfort zone, because I think it was a great success. Now, like I said, there is story elements that are introduced that do continue the story. Nothing that if you didn't see would radically change your experience or thoughts on what happens or what may happen in Modern Warfare 3. Obviously, we know what happened in the original trilogy of games. We have a pretty good sense of where this trilogy is going to go. That said, maybe there'll be some elements that sneak out from Atomgrad 1 through 4 that work their way in. But it's just nice to see a continuation of the characters, more missions, more information. But if you don't play it and you start up Modern Warfare 3, I don't think you're going to be any more or less lost than everybody else who's been playing just the core game. The other thing that I appreciate about the raids was that they give some really cool rewards if you're willing to kind of work through them. Now, I'm not one of these players who buys a lot of post-game content. I did buy a couple skins last go-round. I did buy Rambo, and I did buy 80s Perk because I thought, and I love the 80s, and I thought that was just an amazingly cool skin. But typically, I just stick to buying and beating the Battle Pass and doing that every season and getting a handful of good rewards, that do kind of make you be like, they kind of do like, okay, they give you some good stuff. You'll get some okay skins. You'll get some okay guns. Now, obviously, the premiere stuff is behind the paywall, and I understand that. I'm not happy about it, but I understand it. But the nice thing about these raids is if you don't have some of the core characters because you didn't buy any of the DLC, like from Captain Price, for example, kind of the titular hero of the Call of Duty series, right? He's kind of the guy, right? When you think about like the fact that beating these raids will give you some really cool Captain Price skins and really unique weapon charms, it's kind of a nice badge of honor. And if you're somebody who just wants to kind of enjoy the experience of the game for what it is, and if you're somebody who doesn't like want to just buy every single thing that comes out and kind of earn your skins and grind through shipment to get a couple cool camos, but not feel like you have to constantly go to the store and burn money on CP to go out and buy these really like legendary exotic skins. If you're willing to kind of go through that, and you're kind of like me, the raid is going to treat you very well because you're going to get access to characters that you have not had access to before, and in really iconic looking skins and in weapons, and that is, I think, a reward in of itself. The satisfaction you're going to get by beating these levels is great, and it's going to be really high because they are challenging. Some of them will feel like buzzer beaters. You do have to put your thinking cap on and work through them, and I love that there is that sense of pride, but there's also a meaningful reward at the end. Going into Modern Warfare 3, I absolutely hope the raids continue. They are one of the highlights of the game. I know there's been a lot of discussion moving forward on what Modern Warfare 3's campaign will look like. You saw them kind of tease some of the basic open world stuff in Modern Warfare 2. Some of those missions were very, very, very open-ended in terms of how you wanted to actually proceed through the content. I'm curious, obviously we know Modern Warfare 3, much more open. I'm curious if they do decide to implement a raid system later on to tell much more linear content that has very tight puzzle solving and a very specific way to progress. And if they can nail that again, I think that would be such an amazing contrast to what I think the open world experience of Modern Warfare 3 is going to be on its own. So I think they got a really good start here. I don't think there was a lot of criticisms I had with it. Maybe there were some good checkpoints. I guess maybe some of the puzzle solving was a bit abstract. Maybe having a couple more examples to kind of get you in the right state of mind might help. Now, your characters do talk a lot. They're they're constantly chattering, telling you what, hey, we should do this, or hey, have you checked this? So they will give you some advice. There are some fun little Easter eggs in there. There's definitely a lot of fun moments and nods back to other things you'll notice in the background. There's also a lot of hidden intel. Collecting intel will give you additional sets of rewards as well and different items. So it's incentivizing you to play the post-game content that is not traditional Warzone. Go out with the campaign and play against the computer and work your way up and level up, because those are really good pieces of content, and those have great rewards in of themselves, which is awesome. So I can't say enough good things about it. I was really happy to have the experience to go through this with some friends who are like-minded, who were willing to sit down and kind of struggle through some of the challenges and kind of work through the process to make some of these levels like really good. And the experience is great. So I highly recommend it. I can't say enough good about the raids. And I'm really excited for what the future holds, especially if they add more zombies or they get a little more wild with their storytelling. I think it'll be a phenomenal complement to the open world experience that Modern Warfare 3 is going to bring. If you played the raid, I want to hear from you guys in the comments below. Try to keep it spoiler free for those who haven't yet played. Thank you all so much for watching. Take care of yourselves. And until next time, I will see you guys on the other side.